Hello, friends. Welcome back to another postscript following our Sunday service. Now, you may be thinking, well, Joshua didn't preach a sermon, so what will he be reflecting on? Well, I suppose one of the things that I wanted to highlight was that Lessons and Carols is a kind of service that I did not become aware of until perhaps a decade or so ago. I did not grow up with lessons and carols. Of course, I read scripture passages and I sang sacred music in church, but I didn't grow up with a service that was dedicated to listening to these passages which narrate the story of hope and life and light coming into the world. And so I really appreciate this Advent lessons and carols that we do, and in some places, of course, they do Christmas Eve lessons and carols, and I've done that in the past as well. And so I appreciate both services. They are similar in nature, even some overlapping passages. But I suppose I wanted to share that the reason I feel an Advent lessons and carols is so important because it's easy to become overwhelmed with expectations coming from every direction in regards to this season. The idealized, romanticized visions of Christmas, which get replayed time and again through films, TV series, and just, I would say, general cultural expectations, advertisements, the sort of season you're supposed to have. All the kids, all the family coming together, making merry, singing songs, eating traditional dishes. And all of that is great. I don't have a problem with it, but it's not exactly the reality for many people, maybe even the majority of people. And I think sometimes when we're not having that experience, when those things aren't lining up, it can frustrate us. It can plunge us into a kind of despair, sense of hopelessness. And honestly, I think that space of Advent that is all about waiting in the darkness, with uncertainty, with precarity, with a real undecided, let us say, an undecided stance as it concerns one's future. I think that's the space of Advent. Chris Fisher, our music minister, was telling me even that in the earliest liturgical enactments of Advent and in the earliest developments of that practice, people understood themselves to be preparing for the end of the world. Because when the Christ child enters, there is a new era, a new way, a new hope that has emerged. And in many ways, it leaves behind all that was, all that we thought was possible. And that is dramatic and apocalyptic. But of course, we recognize that these types of events happen typically when we're on the brink, when we're not sure how things are going to be, how they're supposed to be, or when we're just deeply frustrated by how things are. So in many ways, if that's your experience this season, know that Advent is the right time. It is the time of hopeful preparation and anticipation, but not expectation, right? There is a sense of expectation, but I think the problem with expectations is it tries to precisely name and designate a certain experience, just like these advertisements and movies and, I don't know, just general environment of our cultures. They create these expectations and the reality rarely lives up to them. And it can have a dramatic, terrible impact on our lives. And so I'm here to tell you that the people that were waiting and that celebrated when Jesus was born and then reenacted that story year after year after year in the first and second centuries, these people were waiting in situations of doubt and despair and hopelessness. They were waiting in darkness. They were waiting and unsure. So if that's where you are, know that you're in good company. You are where the ancestors in the faith were. And so I commend this season of practice to you. I hope that you will continue to wait, but don't put the pressure on yourself to be in a place that you're not. Just be where you are. Sit where you are. Be still where you are. Trust that this isn't the end of the story, but it is a part of it. And that there's no reason to try to muscle your way out of it, or try to perfect your way out of it, or just get angry and lash out at people because they're not conforming to your expectations for them, just like reality didn't conform to your expectations of it. So rest assured that God is still with you, that hope is not lost, but it is okay to feel however you feel in this season. That is what Advent is about. I am with you. We are with you. This is a space for you to be who you are. And I look forward to seeing you this coming Sunday, and of course for our Christmas Eve service that'll be following that in just a few days. So hang in there, stay where you are, know that it is holy and that all will be well. See you next week.